Wowza! Another OC video. Such content. I am continuing the story of Arietta and company, and today we are talking about Robin. It's a character I love, and a lot of you guys love, so I hope you're ready. Here she is! Hello and welcome back to my channel. Hope you're doing well. So last month I talked about Arietta. I talked about the world that they live in and her story and everything. And today's Robin, a nice friend of Arietta's. So if you haven't seen Arietta's video, I would highly recommend going watching that one before watching this one. In her video, I talk a lot more about the world and go a little bit more in depth with how it works, how the story is, and all of that. So I'm going to be touching on that briefly in here, but it would make a lot more sense for you to watch that one before this one. So, Robin, am I right? She's another main character of the story. One of, I would say, 4 main characters. So yeah, not really much to say other than that for the introduction. So let's get into it. Her name is Robin, as you might have guessed. It's shocking, I know. She's 20 years old, and she is a lady, a female, a woman, a she, her, if you will. And she is extroverted. At first glance, she can seem very vain, very conceited, somewhat egotistical. That can kind of put a lot of people off from her. She seems a little bit full of herself, I guess. And she's also a perfectionist. She cares a lot about, well, a lot of things, I guess. I guess that's partly why she is a little bit conceited at times, or like seemingly conceited. A lot of people assumed that she likes to keep up with her appearance. That is true. She tries to be a perfectionist in everything, including her appearance, also her personality, her profession, which we will get into. But because she's such a perfectionist, she could also be pretty critical, not just of herself, but others and other things. And she can also seem kind of condescending at times because of it. She's very blunt. She always gets straight to the point. And so when she is critical of something, like, she's just gonna say it and she's not gonna sugarcoat it. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I guess depends on the situation. But that can kind of make people irritated at her fairly easily, I guess. She can kind of offend people fairly easily. She doesn't really care a whole lot, I guess. I don't know, that sounds kind of bad. Of course she doesn't want to offend you, but if she says something very blunt, like, she's just gonna say it and not feel bad about it. Although all of that said, she is a lot more friendly and sympathetic than her first impression would lead you to believe. She's not heartless. She definitely has good intentions. It's just that her, like, personality and her attitude can kind of, it can sometimes say otherwise, but she does have good intentions with everyone. She does like to be people's friends. She does like to help people. She does like to just be there for her loved ones. And she is very protective of her loved ones. So it can kind of just come off a bit strongly, I guess. And that's like in both terms of like her being like the blunt, sort of like critical person, and also being like an affectionate person. Like she just comes off strongly all the time. But yeah, there she is. She's confident, critical, and cute. 3 C's. I don't know, a lot of people pretty much guessed her personality, like, pretty spot on. She cares about her appearance, she's confident, kind of vain. There we go. That's her in a nutshell. So moving on to the story, again, your last warning, if you haven't seen Arietta's video, I would suggest going and watching that now, because I will go more in depth. I'm going to be speaking as if you had seen that video, so if you had not, go do that. Thanks. So, Robin is also a witch, just like Arietta. All of the characters that I am going to be speaking about in this series are witches. All of them are. So just assume that they are. And ever since the beginning of the story, Robin is a part of the Witches Coalition. After meeting up with Arietta and she decides to join the Witches Coalition, they all decide to help Arietta kind of find out who she is and why she has her strange power of not needing a magic tool to access her powers. And they get into a lot of shenanigans along the way. In Arietta's video, I mentioned that like each witch has sort of like a theme to their powers. So it's kind of hard to explain Robin's, but I will do my very best. Just bear with me. First off, I will say that the tools that her team uses, so like her, Micah, and Jax, I wanted them to have like a theme to it. And the tools, by the way, they're kind of like, they can be used like as a weapon to like help you fight. Sometimes it's like something smaller that just helps you use your powers, or sometimes you can use the tool directly in combination with your powers, or you could just smack someone with the tool. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. But Robin's team, I wanted them to be kind of cohesive with one another, and so all of their tools are actually based off of jewelry. Their tools aren't jewelry, but they're more of like weapons / objects based off of jewelry. And Robin's is based off of a necklace, so she's got a necklace. It's kind of whip-like, but also kind of not. I don't know. It exists. And her powers, they're like, I describe them as like spatial based or like matter based. Again, stay with me. I guess the best way I could explain is like by just giving some examples of some things she can do. So like, let's say Robin is standing on one side of the room and another person is standing on another side of the room. She can like make them switch places. They're like kind of like a teleportation thing. She can make them like switch places. Of course, there's like limitations to that. She can't, like, she wouldn't be able to switch spaces with someone bigger than her, but she could if she like had someone else like small, like if there was like an equal sort of mass between her and the other person. So it's like, let's say there's someone bigger than her on the other side of the room. Like, let's say we have, I guess for scale, a Robin and an Arietta, and then on the other side of the room, there's someone who is roughly the size of both of them combined. Like, she could make her and Arietta both switch places with that person, but she wouldn't be able to do just herself. But also, if Arietta was on one side of the room and she was on the other, she would be able to make them switch places just fine because Arietta is smaller than she is. And stuff like that. She can also change, like, scaling of stuff. She can make things bigger, she can make things smaller. Again, limitations. There's a lot to her powers, but I hope that you can understand what I mean by that. She has she has spatial-based powers. There we go. The best I can explain it. I should have written out like a detailed report of it or something. I don't know, in my head it makes perfect sense. I just have a hard time putting it into words, I guess. But that's the type of magic she has. So the Witches Coalition, right? I did say she's a part of that, and there's like the different branches that exist within it. Her team, they're supposed to be a part of like the sort of like a scouting team, I guess. Like they just gather information about like if there's any corrupt witches nearby, or if there's any corrupt witches with like evil intent nearby, or if there's any like creatures or monsters giving the locals any sort of issues. What they're supposed to do is just gather information on that and report back, but within the coalition, Robin's group is a little infamous for breaking rules and not really following their protocol. Instead of just doing what they're supposed to, they often take it upon themselves to take care of the situations. So like, let's say there's like a creature that's causing issues for a nearby city, they'll just take care of it instead of like reporting back and being like, there's an issue. So they kind of get in trouble a lot with the higher ups. I'll leave it up to you guys to decide who's the one who causes the chaos. Out of their 14 members, she seems to be the laziest. So there's that. She seems to be kind of like laid back, and I don't want to say reluctant to do work. She seems reluctant and acts reluctant to do work, but really she enjoys what she does, so it's just a facade. And then as for like personal motives for the story and like what she hopes to gain in the future, no one really knows. Isn't that mysterious? But yeah, even her team members, they don't really know what she does, like why she's at the coalition. They don't know what she wants to gain from anything, really. She doesn't talk about her past a lot. For someone who can kind of be self-centered, she doesn't really talk about her past or where she comes from, but there we go. There's Robin. I hope a lot of that made sense. We all know I'm bad at talking, but specifically with Robin and her magic, I seem to be a hard time. Wow. I have a hard time putting it into words. I need to stop messing up sentences where I'm explaining how I'm bad at talking. But anyways, let me know if you have any questions. I'll do my best to answer them. I won't answer questions that I think I answered in this video, or if it's like spoiler territory, so just keep that in mind. But I will be happy to explain anything further if need be. Anyways, the Q&A thing. That's the next part of these videos that always happens. So let's get to it. As always, I post these to Instagram, so if you want to be a part of a future OC video, the next one, it might be Micah or it might be Jax. Who knows? Go over to my Instagram. I leave the posts up for 24 hours and then write down a bunch of questions and then answer them in this video, so go over there so you don't miss those posts. Let's get to it. Of course, the 3 traditional questions. What is her birthday / zodiac sign? And of course, she doesn't have one. I don't know why I made this a traditional question when most of my characters don't have one. But yeah, feel free to leave your suggestions as always, and maybe someday she will have one. Does she prefer ice cream cake or cookie cake? Absolutely ice cream cake. She loves ice cream cake. And lastly, use the vine to describe her.
Bitch, why you mad? Cause my pussy pops severely and yours don't?
Moving on from those, does she prefer waffles or pancakes? It's a very important question. Between the two, she prefers pancakes, but she does enjoy both. Literally, it's because she thinks pancakes look nicer, and that's it. How approachable is she? Not very. Like I said, her sort of personality and kind of attitude, I guess, just like the way she carries herself, can kind of put people off from her. Upon first meeting her, people can kind of think she's rude, or just a lot at the very least. So she either intimidates people or puts people off when they first meet her. So that happens. She seems like a fashion icon. How long does she spend shopping? And did the other people around her get annoyed? She is a very fashionable person. She cares a lot about her appearance. She puts a lot of thought and time into it. She does shop a lot. She shops a lot for a long time. Let's say the 4 main characters all went out shopping. The only person who would really get irritated is Jax. They don't really like shopping. Of course, Robin spends way too much time shopping, but it's mostly just Jax who doesn't like it. Is she the type to go with the flow or plan ahead? She mostly plans ahead. Like I said, she's a perfectionist, so woo! Words. Since she is a perfectionist, she does tend to plan things out a little bit more. But even though she is a perfectionist, she can be kind of laid back. So if things don't go according to plan, she usually doesn't get too upset about it, and she can adjust fairly quickly. When she's captured, does she panic, give sass, or cause property damage? I also like how this says when she's captured and not if she were to get captured. Some really interesting implications there. She would for sure be sassy with a side of property damage. But it's mostly sass. She's very sassy in general, to be honest. How's her relationship with her parents? Does she have any siblings? Does she interact with people who were in her childhood? All that stuff. Just people she's close with. For anyone wondering, parents are alive. They're alive and well, but she doesn't have a relationship. Like, communication with them is completely cut off. She doesn't have any siblings. She's an only child. Like I said, she doesn't talk about her past, so all of her past is like cut off from her. She doesn't talk about it. She doesn't talk to anybody from her past. How tall is she? None of the characters in this universe have solid heights. I think I said that in Arietta's video too. I picture her being somewhere between 5'5" and 5'7". So like kind of like mid-height, I guess. Although it is worth noting that she does wear a lot of like high heels and then like thick shoes, like shoes with thick soles on them. I guess we could say her height is 5'5", and then depending on what shoes, she's like 5'7" or 5'8". So let's go with that. Those aren't exact measurements, but roughly. What does she think of the other characters in the story? So with the main characters, let's go over them. It's so funny. People love to ship her with Arietta, but when they first meet, she didn't actually like her all that much. I don't know. When she first met Arietta, she thought she was very odd. She thought it was really crazy that she doesn't use a tool. And she was like, I don't want to say angry, but like, it was something she didn't really like. I'll love to hear your theories as to why. But now, like, they do get along fairly well, and she's more intrigued by her than anything. But yeah, the first impression, it didn't go great. She quote-unquote hates Jax. And the way that I say that, it's like, her and Jax, they go at it. Like, they insult each other day in and day out. They're always bickering. But then also, if you were to be like, hey Robin, why do you hate Jax? She'd be like, what do you mean? I love Jax. They're great. It's just the kind of relationship they have. And Jax feels the same way. It's a very odd relationship. They're frenemies, I guess. And then Micah. I think I mentioned this in Arietta's video too, but he's kind of like the mom friend. But Robin leans on Micah a lot. I guess you can say that Micah kind of babies her at times. She's kind of spoiled. Like the way that a parent might spoil their child. That's kind of the relationship they have. Which is strange because he's only 2 years older than her, but that's how it is. How many people has she stepped on? I actually made a drawing of her stepping on us. And as of recording this, it has 7,028 likes. So she stepped on 7,028 people. Is she a glass half empty or half full kind of person? I'd say more half empty. She can kind of be dramatic. She definitely has a flair for the dramatics. I wouldn't say that she's pessimistic. Pessimistic. Good job. I won't say that she's necessarily pessimistic, but yeah, that's the end of that thought, I guess. Does she prefer daytime or nighttime? And alternatively, does she prefer winter or summer? She prefers the daytime and she prefers the summer. Just the type of person she is. What kind of pet would she have? The two that came to mind was a ferret and a chinchilla. Not quite sure why. Someone asked about a snake, and then someone asked if she was a cat or a dog person. Between cat or dogs, she does prefer dogs, but she does like them both, and she doesn't like snakes. I don't know why I can picture her having like a ferret or a chinchilla so vividly in my mind, but if she were to have a pet, it would definitely be one of those. And she's someone who messes around a lot, but somehow also gets things done. Absolutely. It's kind of astonishing that someone commented that because that's kind of her in a nutshell. She never seems to take her job seriously, but somehow she always pulls through. So yes, that is her to a T. What is something that she likes about others, or what's something that draws her to people? Confidence. And now it probably makes sense why her first impression of Arietta did not go well. She really likes people who are confident. She kind of people like her, I guess. You know, whether they come off as like vain or humble, it doesn't really matter to her. As long as they show some sort of confidence, that's something that she can really appreciate and respect in another person. And lastly, does she get angrily easy, or is she pretty chill? She's pretty chill. So I mentioned that her and Jax are kind of like frenemies, which of course means they always try to irritate each other. And usually how it goes is that Jax tries to irritate Robin, but then Robin is quick to turn the tables, and then Jax is the one that gets irritated. So she doesn't get angry or irritated easily. In fact, she is the one who does the irritating. And I think that's it. Yes, that is it. Yes. That's it. You guys had a lot of really fun questions for Robin, which is exciting. I'm happy that you guys like her so much. I love drawing her. She's one of my favorites to draw. And again, if you have any questions about anything, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. Just remember what I said earlier. I won't answer what I've already answered, and I won't answer spoiler stuff. But other than that, that's all I have for you for this video. So give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. If you liked Robin, let me know your thoughts on her. I'd love to hear them. And again, if you want to be a part of the next OC video, go over to my Instagram page and keep an eye out for those posts. The next post should probably be up not too long after this video, actually, so keep an eye out for that over the next few days. It should be there. And if you are new here, hello, my name is Oliver. I post a new video every single Wednesday. Post a lot of my art. It's a great time over here. So if you could subscribe, I would really appreciate it. I would love to share more of my art with you. And if you want to follow me on social media, it's another thing you could do. That will be on screen now and linked in the description box below. Instagram is the place to be. Don't know how many times I've said that in this video, but go over there if you want. But if not, it's fine. Whatever. And there will also be some videos on screen now and linked in the iCard for you to check out if you want. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye!